Well, a wild month of May and spring training has finally come to a close, and the regular season is upon us. Amidst the flurry of headline-grabbing signings from this crazy MLB offseason that got accelerated because of the lockout, a lot of minor league deals got lost in the scuffle and are only now being appreciated. Such is the status quo for that kind of deal anyway. For example, D. Strange Gordon, who signed with the Washington Nationals, had a terrific spring and made the big league club after missing half of 2020 and all of 2021. While Gordon and the Nationals likely won't compete in the new year, plenty of minor league deals have had significant season-altering impact in the recent past. Many players this offseason who signed minor league deals could make significant strides for their respective teams if they make the big league roster. Some guys who have include Darren O'Day, who looks to make an impact in a stacked Braves bullpen. These are just a couple examples of guys who took minor league deals and managed to break camp as a member of their team's opening day roster. So let's take the time today to look back on the past few years and discuss the best minor league signings from every MLB offseason, because there's nothing like a low-risk bet paying off huge dividends. Let's start things off with an old fan favorite. After playing the full 162 in back-to-back seasons from 2013 to 2014, Hunter Pence saw significant injury trouble from age 32 on with the Giants. After a fractured left forearm, left wrist tendonitis, a left oblique strain, a torn right hamstring, a strain in his left hamstring, and a sprained right thumb, all in the span of 4 years, the San Francisco Giants and Pence decided to part ways, probably for the best. The Texas Rangers took a flyer on Pence, inking him to a minor league deal with an invite to spring training. In 19 spring training games, Pence stayed healthy and raked, much to the surprise of everyone. In 54 at-bats, he batted .315 with a .957 OPS, and the Rangers were pleased to add him to their opening day roster, with him serving as the everyday designated hitter, a role much more suited for him given his injuries. With expectations low for the Rangers as a whole in 2019, Pence surged in a comeback season. He hit 8 home runs in the month of May to go along with 26 RBIs and a .026 OPS. Pence hit so well that he managed to serve as the starting DH for the American League All-Star team that year, his first nod since his last healthy year in 2014. All in all, Pence battled injury again but turned in a fantastic season for a mediocre teen, where he had a .552 slugging percentage, 18 home runs, and a .126 OPS plus over 316 plate appearances. This earned him one last ride with the Giants in 2020 before finally retiring. Let's talk about another veteran on the other side of the ball. Francisco Liriano enjoyed a 14-year career with 6 different teams, but the one I remember him most with has to be the Pittsburgh Pirates for those unforgettable wildcard teams in the mid-2010s. After 3 consecutive down years as a starter, though, no one came calling for Liriano's services in 2019, except for his old friends down in Pittsburgh, who offered him a minor league deal and an invite to spring training. Liriano pitched well enough to make a promising Pirates club that had won 82 games the year before, and for the first time in his career, he'd serve as a primary reliever. Most guys struggle with this transition, but he'd do it extremely well, becoming arguably Pittsburgh's most reliable reliever and a talented setup man for a team that admittedly wouldn't go far in 2019. Over 70 innings, he had a 3.47 ERA and 20.9 strikeout percentage. For Liriano, after staring down retirement in the face, his 2019 season breathed life into his career once again. Both the Phillies and Blue Jays would take the same flyer on Liriano for a lefty reliever spot in the ensuing 2 seasons, but as it stands, his career closed with the Pirates, a fitting end for the 38-year-old in my opinion. Let's talk about another bullpen lefty now. After kicking off his career with 3 stellar years in the Toronto bullpen, Loup was tailing off towards the end of the 2010s. He bounced between clubs in 2018 with mediocre numbers, then missed basically all of 2019 with the Padres due to an elbow injury. By the time the pandemic season rolled around, Loup wasn't receiving many calls for his services, but one team that did pick up the phone, however, was the Tampa Bay Rays, known now for their prowess in developing bullpen weapons. They handed Loup a minor league deal, and with an outbreak in their clubhouse sidelining key players like Austin Meadows, Loup was able to make the big league roster by the 3rd game of the season. Overall, Loup had a terrific 2020 for an impressive Rays team, with 25 innings pitched and a 2.52 ERA, not to mention a mind-blowing 0.84 whip. As impressive as his turnaround from this minor league contract was, it's the aftermath of this season that really turned my head. Loup signed with the Mets on a minuscule $3 million deal for 2021 and turned in perhaps the best reliever season in franchise history, with 57 innings, a 0.95 ERA, and 0.94 whip. This helped him earn a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Angels, which begins this season. Loup's sharp turnaround from minor leaguer to the most expensive lefty reliever in the game has been incredible to witness, even though I wish he was still a Met. Alright, let's get a bat in the mix again. Tyler Naquin was a former first-round pick and a fundamental piece of the 2016 American League champion Cleveland Indians, but after injury-plagued seasons and a a 2020 year that was the worst of his career, Cleveland finally decided to pull the plug on Naquin and let him hit free agency. Not many teams came calling at first, but the Cincinnati Reds finally decided to swoop in right before spring training with a minor league offer and an invite. Naquin, now playing to try and stay in the big leagues as a 30-year-old outfielder, needed to have a stellar spring, and that he did, with a .310 batting average and .667 slugging percentage over 47 plate appearances. He tore the cover off the ball, enough to get him on the big league roster come opening day. But Naquin wasn't done just yet. Though he wasn't starting every day, he made his presence known with 6 home runs and a .914 OPS in the month of April. Soon enough, Naquin became a cog in a stacked Reds lineup that made a serious playoff push last season, finishing the year with strong offensive numbers including a .270 batting average, 19 home runs, and a .105 OPS plus. Thanks to his contract being nice and cheap at $4 million this year, Naquin will be one of the few 2021 Reds actually returning to the club, with most of his teammates getting traded or walking away from Cincy entirely. The Reds are a huge beneficiary of a well-executed minor league deal, but for Naquin, it's a bittersweet end to a nearly disastrous turn in his major league career. For a then 37-year-old Jesse Chavez, who had just undergone elbow surgery after 2 of the worst seasons in his career consecutively, the light was dimming on his career. After starting the 2021 season unemployed, the Atlanta Braves came calling in need of some bullpen depth and inked him to a minor league deal in the middle of the season with low expectations. But Chavez balled out at AAA Gwinnett with 20 innings pitched and a 2.25 ERA, along with a 1.0 whip. This was enough to get the Braves' attention and earn himself a call-up in the middle of June. After a shaky first outing versus the Reds, Chavez didn't give up a run in his next 13 appearances, suddenly solidifying himself as an integral piece of a successful Braves bullpen. Overall in the year, he had 33 2/3 innings pitched with a 2.14 ERA and 1.01 whip. Not only did Chavez ride out the season with the Braves, he'd be a part of a playoff team for just the second time in his 14-year career. With the squad that eventually won the World Series, Chavez pitched 6 1/3 scoreless innings along the way en route to his first ring. Talk about a roller coaster season. The best part? The doubters were out again on Chavez this year, and he just made the opening day roster with the Chicago Cubs after being handed another minor league deal. Chavez's story is incredible, probably deserving of its own video eventually, but for now, let's just marvel at the tenacity of this 39-year-old. I hope he has another great season. After some steady years of power hitting production with the Angels and Twins, CJ Cron's career hit a snag in the pandemic season, like many other big leaguers. He struggled in short time with the lowly Detroit Tigers and then missed most of the season with knee surgery. In the offseason, it wasn't shocking that many teams weren't interested in a struggling 30-year-old first baseman with injury trouble. Not every team though, as the Colorado Rockies decided to take a flyer on Cron with a minors deal and a spring training invite. They'd look pretty smart for that, as Cron tore the cover off the ball with Colorado in spring with 53 plate appearances, a .354 batting average, and a mind-boggling .771 slugging percentage. This was enough to force the team's hand and get himself on the opening day roster, and he wouldn't sniff an at-bat in the minors that whole season, becoming a mainstay at first base for the Rockies. Cron had an especially torrid August, where he hit a National League leading 11 home runs for an otherwise mediocre team. Cron's bounce-back 2021 performance included 28 home runs, 92 RBIs, and a .130 OPS plus, even when playing at Coors Field. This earned him an extension with the Rockies, who inked him to a 2-year, $14.5 million deal to patrol first base for the near future. A great deal for both sides in my opinion. All from a minor league deal. Would you look at that? Last up on today's list is probably the most bittersweet for me. We've talked a lot about relievers in this video, but there's perhaps no better recent example of a minor league deal on a reliever paying huge dividends than Paul Sewald's deal with the Seattle Mariners. I'm a Mets fan, as some of you know, because I already mentioned it this video, so I was able to bear witness to Sewald's tenure with the club from 2017 to 2020, and I can say with full honesty that I never felt comfortable with him on the mound. Nothing against the guy, he was just a part of some brutal bullpens for us. After 147 innings and a 5.50 ERA, it wasn't shocking that the Mets decided to cut ties with Sewald. He always had decent stuff that he couldn't execute to its highest potential, so it wasn't surprising to see Seattle offer him a minor league deal either. He wouldn't make the club until May after toiling in the minors for a month, but Paul Sewald was a welcome addition for a middling Seattle bullpen. In his first 26 games, Sewald pitched brilliantly, with a 1.38 ERA and 149 batting average against, and he helped the Mariners improve from a 20-20 team to a 49-43 team in that span. By July, Sewald started earning save opportunities, and soon enough, he was looked at as the elite pitcher of the Mariners bullpen. By the end of the season, Paul Sewald had pitched the best season of his career, with a 3.06 ERA and 1.02 whip in 64 innings pitched. This came after nearly spending the season in the minor leagues, so it was a shock to fans everywhere. He'll look to steer the Mariners towards the playoffs in the new season as well. And that's my batch of the best minor league deals from the past few years. I definitely omitted some other deals, so if you know what I'm talking about, leave a comment down below and maybe I'll talk about them in a future video. And now a word from today's sponsor, Roman. My deal with Roman is still on the table. If you go to getroman.com/jolly, you can get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. For those wondering, Roman isn't only treating men for ED. Whether it's weight issues, hair loss issues, or general health, Roman is the best place you can go to get the advice that you need. You can speak to a US licensed healthcare professional about any health issues you're facing, and Roman will be there to help. Roman's system is completely confidential and totally discreet, no big logos or labels on packages. You can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for any issues that you're facing, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. Roman will work with you to find the best treatment plan possible, and if medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet, and I highly recommend it. Getting started is simple. As I mentioned before, just go to getroman.com/jolly and complete an online visit. Take care of your health without leaving your home and complete an online visit today to connect with a US licensed healthcare professional, and I promise you'll be better for it. Make sure you're ready to have the confidence and control this fall. Roman ready. Thanks for watching today's video. I'll see you guys next time.